Welcome back to Finnegan's Garage. Do me a favor, please like this video, subscribe to this video, and more importantly, comment below, because I want to know what you think about what we're doing here. Today is a very special day because we have the owner and pilot of the world's fastest streetcar in the house, Mr. Tom Bailey.
Hello, everybody.
And he's here because, well, let's be honest, he's been on fire. And I haven't, and I want to know what to do to keep the Caddy from burning to the ground should it catch on fire. Tom's got his own YouTube channel. Please go to it because he's got killer footage of 6 Seconds 2.0, the world's fastest streetcar, testing, lighting up the tires, launching jet skis into the water, which is pretty awesome. And
trailer burnout.
Trailer burnouts, yeah. I mean, you've done epic stuff with this car, as well as going...
And then burning it to the ground. So.
Well, I was going to say running in the fives at Hot Rod Drag Week, but sure, yes, the car burnt to the ground. And recently, in fact. And after watching that video, I went, oh no, we need to do something to the Caddy. Because let's be honest, we're mediocre car builders. Things get left loose. And it's very real that this could catch on fire at some point when we race it. So Tom came down today to kind of talk about what it was like to be on fire. And also what to do to stop the fire when it happens. So first off, you're the chillest man I've ever seen on camera, on fire. I'm giving you a lot of props because we'll show you the clip here. But Tom's car caught on fire during a run. And this is methanol, by the way, which you really can't see when you're on fire. It was hard to tell you were on fire until the windshield got really weird looking.
It was curdling. Yep.
Yeah, and then it came in the cab, and you had enough forethought to stop your car near the safety safari on the drag strip, and then you just calmly started getting out of the car, and you really didn't speed up anything you were doing until it looked like the Hans or the harness got stuck. And then you opened the door, and it looked like a damn action movie. It was just, boom, fire everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, Tom's on fire. And I think I texted you that day because I was like, holy crap, are you okay, dude?
No.
So what did you learn from that?
Try not to catch on fire and use different O-rings on the injectors so that hopefully that doesn't happen again. So,
two things. Don't catch on fire. Different O-rings. Have you found the different O-rings yet?
Yes.
I texted you that day, and one of the things I learned from you that day was you didn't set off the fire system because you knew it would make a mess of the car. This one won't do that, but why is that? Like, what's the difference between what you had and what we're going to put on the Caddy?
Fireade is a different compound that puts out all the fire, but it doesn't leave anything behind. It's two separate systems, one for the driver's compartment, one for the engine compartment. The other good thing about it is it's an automated system. In the driver's compartment, you have this, which is just like a sprinkler head in a building or something, and you know how a sprinkler head goes off?
Right.
And basically extinguishes the fire. You don't have to do anything. Nobody has to go manually activate the sprinklers.
If you crash your car and it catches on fire, but you're knocked unconscious, which happens, this is what's going to save you, because you're not, you're unconscious. You can't pull the handles, and then by the time anyone gets to you, you want something like this to happen well before that, So this is cool.
Yeah, and this trip's at 175 degrees. This is inside the driver's compartment, and it's only for the driver's compartment, which is the automated bottle. So when you run methanol, you have to run 20 pounds is NHRA. So most of them, including the one in my car, currently, both bottles are tied together, and all the heads are tied together, whether it's in the driver's compartment or the engine compartment.
Okay.
To where this is a 20-pound system, but separate. Automatic, which is this bottle, through this, to the nozzles inside the driver's compartment. You put them where you want. Engine compartment, still cable-driven, the same way that you activate the fire system manually. You can also activate this system manually with a handle, but it'll go off on its own. And that's the one part I look at is all the street driving that we do with our cars. Mm-hmm. And usually just like this, driving on the street, if something happens, you hit your head or anything like that, if you had a system that automatically went off, boy, that would be good. That's kind of like an airbag, call it an airbag for our race cars.
Yes.
They come with brackets for roll cages that they can be mounted to the roll cage. You can put them either inside the car. You can put them anywhere that you want. The other is that they can go in any direction because the way the pickup tubes are on these, it doesn't matter if they're on their side, upside down. It all gets plumbed with aluminum tubing.
Right.
So,
and these are push-to-connect fittings. You don't have to flare this, right?
Yep. Yeah, and these are all 90-degree nozzles that all have bulkhead fittings. So you either do a plate or a tab, and you can actually bolt this to it. At 1 foot, the width is 1 foot of the spray. So at 2 foot, it'd be 2 foot.
So it fans out as it gets
Correct.
further away. Okay.
One good thing about Mag stuff is that they make custom brackets for all the different shifters. I run precision shifters. This is actually the bracket that I picked up the other day for my car, but this will mount on the precision shifter, and then I'll have both handles right next to my shifter. So one for the engine compartment, one for the inside, or vice versa, whichever way.
Oh, that's cool.
One common thing with it, which has been covered in many, is most of us all have our fire bottle lever up top above our head. Well, when you're in a frantic situation, you're trying to reach to grab that.
Yeah.
A lot of people put levers on them.
Yeah.
So the big idea is get them out in front of you, so that then, obviously, in a situation where you need them, you can pull them. So
yeah,
that's one thing that...
It's a bright red handle on the cable that activates these things, and it says fire, so I kind of want that facing me, when I'm on fire. So I go, fire. I don't have to think about that. I just pull the thing that says fire when I'm on fire. I can do that. And is Fireade the brand name, or is that the actual chemical? Like if somebody wants to go find this stuff for their own race car, where do they go?
This, we should put a link down there to Mag's Fab Shop.
Okay.
So in Mississippi, they're the ones that are the dealer for it. They also make, Mags also has trailer systems. Obviously, trailer fires are a big deal now, but they just came out with a system that's 2 5-pound bottles, one automatic and one manual, so that you can do the same kind of split system in a gas application if you don't want to go to a full 20.
We'll put a link in the description of the video so you guys can easily click on it and figure out where to get this stuff and how much it costs. And right now, we're just going to look at the Caddy. We're not going to install it because we're hungry and we're going to go eat now. But we're going to go look at the Caddy and figure out where the nozzles should go and where the handles should go. That way, when we get to that part, we'll know where to put this stuff. And then I'll feel a lot better about running methanol through the twin turbo big block that's going in this thing. All right, so I think I have the gist of this. Can we go over where this stuff would go on my car?
Well, bottles can go anywhere. I mean, wherever you want to mount it to. I mean, and obviously you get this big trunk. I mean, you could put one on each side.
Damn right.
And then plumb each side individually. So,
all right, so this next question is for all the other 61 Caddy owners out there that want to run 8s at drag week. Where should we put that? Because that's the deal with the glass that senses the 175 degrees and kicks the system on, right?
Correct. And basically you want it to be where the heat source is going to be, the major heat source, but not too close. I mean, my trans, it's nothing on a pass for my trans to get up to 230 degrees, 240 degrees, depending on if I have to spool a lot.
So not there.
So the idea is that it's up on a bar somewhere out of the way, and whether it's on one of these sidebars over here or the other sidebar, but just somewhere where it's going to see the temperature, because obviously the idea is that it's saving you.
Yeah, you don't want
you to be in temperature way before it would ever get to this.
Okay.
So, and the same thing is now with the nozzles, you're going to want 2 of them over there. On the driver's side for sure, and then if you're worried about Newburn or Cotton or anybody, I mean, you could add additional ones to this side.
Yeah.
But generally, you want one spraying on the feet. So if there's a tab or something around there, and on the angle, whether it's over in the corner there, it could be in the corner spraying this direction, and then the other one you want up high. So generally, like a good spot would even be where the gusset is.
Oh, yeah.
You could go with a tab right in the middle there and then just aim that down.
And then in the engine compartment, just point them at the hot stuff like the turbos and stuff like that, right?
Yep, exactly.
So in here, we just point one at the turbo.
Yeah, nozzles.
One at the header.
That's the thing. Like if there's one on the firewall coming off or something, like in this direction or even in this corner somewhere, just spraying on that. Same thing on the other side. I mean, anywhere where your big heat sources are going to be. I mean, most of the fires are always going to be headers, turbos, somewhere in that part of it.
So, I mean, if you had one in all 4 corners just shooting that direction, you could cover it just about everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's fire system. A little other stuff.
There's not a lot to it. And I don't know why more people don't do it, I got to be honest. Maybe they haven't seen his video. But if you haven't seen it already yet, it'll be in the middle of this video if you've, fast forwarded to the end. It's here. Just back up. Let's stop this video real quick. I need to ask you one more time. Can you hit the subscribe button for me? You probably forgot to do it. I know you want to. Right now, please. Thank you. On with the show.
This is a jet boat on steroids. Obviously, it's got a Sonny's Hemi in it. Twin, what'd you say? These are 85 millimeter turbos on it? What's it running on? Race gas or?
Yeah, it runs Rocket Brand 118. You could probably run it on pump gas because it only makes 9 pounds of boost right now. Based on the fuel flow numbers, they think it makes 1,700 right now. Honestly, don't know. I've only stabbed it for like 5 seconds, so I don't even know how fast it is. But
so 1,700 with the capability of 4,000 if needed.
Yeah, if you had yeah, I don't know what it would do with these turbos, but yeah, I think you could probably make 4,000. But why would you in a boat like this? Like, there's no good reason to do that. You know.
Well, the good news is we have plenty of fuel. Both tanks are almost full.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, we're going boating today. Let's make this work. Okay, so we call these jet boats. It's actually kind of a misnomer. There is no jet engine in this boat. Obviously, Tom told you it's got a 711 cubic inch Sonny's Chevy Hemi, but this is a jet drive. So this right here bolts into the bottom of the boat. It's got a hole right there. Water comes in through the bottom of the boat into what's called the bowl. Inside of here is an impeller. Looks like a propeller, but it's shrouded. The water is squeezed through this bowl, out this adjustable nozzle.
'Cause I'm about that. 'Cause I'm about that.
Normally you don't have to use a welder to disassemble your jet boat. Yeah, I had one of the neighbors call me and they were like, hey, I don't want to complain, but could you not run the boat between 12 and 1 on Friday because I have a conference call and your boat shakes the windows in my house. It's like, well, that's pretty cool. So no, I won't run the boat because that's really cool and I appreciate you, not calling the cops and just calling me instead. So you have nothing to hold on to. You get this. You can put a hand there, but
No grab handle?
no, you won't need it.
No seatbelt?
It's by the time you're ready to grab something, it's too late.
No parachute?
It's on my life vest, which I'm not gonna wear because I want you to feel
Equal.
equal. Yeah. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna go out and cruise it around because it'll take a while to get heat in it, and then we'll burp it a few times and see if it's happy.
I'm usually not in the recipient seat.
See, and I wouldn't do this. Not because I don't trust me, but because I don't trust anyone else on the planet. Like I literally am a bad passenger. I won't do it. But I promise you, I will not put you in any danger. We will be good. Because I want to live and I want to see you live, and we'll go do other things that are less deadly. All right. Thanks for watching Finnegan's Garage. Thanks for Tom Bailey coming out here, and please go subscribe to his channel, Tom Bailey. And he's got cool ass videos, man, of his car going in the fives, driving down the block, going to In-N-Out, hauling jet skis. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life, and I love it. See you next time.